Plus.
A B. That's all, folks. Welcome to another eligible monster Listcussion. See, I named
Nice.
it
I like
Listcussion.
it. I like it.
Listcussion.
If you're wondering what this is, because we're still early in the series and this may be your first one, we wanted to do lists in the channel. Why? They get views.
Everybody watches
Not
lists.
really, and also because they're opinion based.
Well, they're opinion based, right?
Yeah.
But
It's
since
fun,
all
you
the
know?
lists are the exact same because you can only have so many of the same topic, we figured, wouldn't it be more fun if we actually went through all of the ones that we found, which will be similar to other lists, but then we discuss them? I'm Benny. That's Rob. That's Natalie. We're the only ones that matter at this channel, even though there's like 3 other people on the team.
Chris the camera guy. Chris the camera guy.
Chris the camera guy. The silent camera guy.
The silent camera guy.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and go with the longest boss fights in history today.
Okay.
The longest fights. And I'm waiting for your reaction. She knows the record longest ones that people actually reference, although there are, in theory, longer ones.
Oh, I'm sure there
in theory.
are. I'm sure there are.
The longest fights that made Guinness Book of World Records and actually made headlines that because people vomited and various other things, they were in Final Fantasy XI.
Yes.
When we get to that, I'm going to let Natalie explain them to you, okay?
Wow.
So I'm going to start at the top of the list, though. And the reason I want to discuss this is Final Fantasy 15, the latest one. It claimed
The
to have a
turtle?
boss that took 72 hours to
No,
beat.
there's no way. The turtle?
Well, in the end,
Adamantoise?
the speed runs can do it in 8. So it's not a 72-hour fight.
Hold
they
on.
claimed it.
Hold on. That's not even the record?
8 minutes?
No, 72
No,
hours.
72 would have been if it was legit.
Oh, okay.
But that was like an empty claim because people can do it in 8 minutes with the proper gear setup.
Okay.
Okay. So that's why I wanted to bring that up because everyone's going to be like, oh, Final Fantasy 15 has a 72-hour fight. Well, it's not. It's not 72 hours.
It's
You mean,
72 hours would be terrible.
72 hours in game.
Is that what it was? Is
I
that
think
what
so.
they're
But,
claiming?
because I
misconstrued
fought it. I fought it. The turtle?
Yeah.
Adamantoise, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to fight him?
Like maybe 2-3 hours.
It was a
Tops.
turtle?
It was
Like
a
a
giant
big,
turtle.
like a mountain. I mean, sorry for spoil. I mean, it's been out for like quite a bit now, so
Yeah.
it's a long
They
time.
had to fight a giant turtle?
So
Yes.
like there was a mountain
That's
in
why
the
I don't play
distance,
Final
right?
Fantasy.
There was a mountain in the distance, right? And when you beat the game, that mountain will come to life and it will be a giant turtle.
See, I'm imagining the turtle from like Neverending Story. Are you thinking of the turtle from Neverending Story?
You're referencing the off-camera guy.
I'm thinking of the turtle from Neverending Story. Like everybody just descends, and it's just like this giant turtle from like Neverending Story that they have to fight.
Okay.
right.
That's what I'm imagining in my head right
That's
now.
definitely not
Which
it.
would actually be pretty amazing.
Okay, well, in the end, we're discussing a
Yes.
fight that actually isn't 72 hours. So the first real number one, Killzone 2 had a boss, Mal Reddick. Okay, this boss took 20 minutes plus to take down. It was a shooter. Because
believe
not
it.
only would the boss teleport around, but he would also, every time he would teleport, bring in more, what were they called? Hellgeist?
I don't know. I played Killzone 1 because that was a PlayStation 2
Killzone
game.
2?
Yeah, 2.
I platinumed that one, so I must have fought it.
The final boss was
Yeah.
just a long fight. He kept teleporting around and kept bringing in swarms of
Yeah,
enemies.
they were a pain in the asses.
Right.
Yeah.
No, the Killzone, was that a PS2 or a PS3 game? The first one. I thought Killzone was only a PlayStation game.
Yeah, it is PlayStation
It is, yeah,
exclusive.
but is
And
yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was PlayStation 3.
Oh, was it?
I think it was,
Yeah,
I think it was
probably.
PlayStation 3.
Yeah.
Either way, 2 was on 3. I know that.
Yeah.
So that's our number one. It was a 20-minute first-person shooter fight, running around endlessly spawning enemies, trying to fight a guy that would teleport.
It was annoying.
Okay?
Yeah.
The next one on here is a fight that would take up to an hour to defeat. Wonderful 101. Jerjinga. We'll go with that. I'm probably off.
Just call it Jenga.
There's a boss that was the entire base. Now, in Wonderful 101, you controlled 100 people. And they each had different things you had to do. So you would run around beating up various enemies, running around as he was blasting you with lasers, fighting him outright. At one point, he would blast a laser into the earth and you had to get in the way and block it by mashing A.
Oh.
And the
Shoot.
cutscene actually shows the character when you're mashing A. He's at the console going,
That's hilarious.
he's mashing A. And you're like,
That's
Yeah,
funny.
that game
It
sounds
took an
weird.
hour to beat that boss.
You guys are running over weird games so far. With the exception of Killzone, you guys are picking weird games.
We've had 3 games.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy.
So
Final,
far,
Final
that's
Fantasy,
it.
you're fighting a giant
I'm going
turtle.
back and forth between the
It was an
weird ones.
amazing fight.
Right.
See, now you're going to tell me that there's going to be like there's a game where you had to fight a boss who was like a unicorn. Like,
Probably.
is that legitimately on the list?
No, there's no unicorn boss on the fight. Don't worry. There's a lot of Final Fantasies, so some of them are unicorn-esque, but
Okay, that's fine.
So that was our number 2 on our list. A giant base and Wonderful 101. Took about an hour to beat.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
wow.
Yeah.
Number 3, Metal Gear Rising. I'm saying it in proper order, so if he doesn't post and fix that, it's gonna look weird.
Which one was Metal Gear Rising?
That was the one where you were the
Raiden.
ninja.
Yeah. You were riding
running
the
around.
ninja.
Slash.
Okay, no. See,
Yeah.
I played 2 Sons of Liberty when I felt cheated because you only spent like a little while on the tanker instead of on the submarine instead of on like, playing as Raiden.
A lot of people hated it.
Yeah,
to be
I don't
honest.
care.
Well, that was when Ryder was
But-
lame before he became a cyborg ninja with lightning powers and a giant sword.
I liked
See, that doesn't
Raiden's
interest
story.
me. I mean, Raiden was okay, but it was just like the Patriots are computer programs, and it's like, all right, whatever. Like,
So in Metal Gear Rising, the solo Raiden game, the final boss fight consisted of a character named Senator Armstrong, who injected nanites into his body and allowed him to control the Metal Gear. So the fight would be broken up between you fighting the giant Metal Gear, and you had the ability to block the giant Metal Gear sword and have to mash the A button. Then you would run up the sword onto the actual thing, continuing the fight with the Metal Gear, doing another quick time battle, bouncing back to the ground, blocking the sword, jumping back up the entire thing until eventually you would then fight Senator Armstrong on the back of it. The whole fight took about 30 minutes or so, but what made it longer was the fact that it would have all the Metal Gear style cutscenes and the
Oh,
quick time
right.
events.
Yeah, that makes
okay.
sense.
So you would kill it for like 5 minutes and then watch 5 minutes of a cutscene.
but see, that I didn't mind though, because when I played the first Metal Gear, and it was the coolest thing because you had to fight like the actual Metal Gear with Liquid Snake inside.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until maybe I tried to beat him like 5 or 6 times that I realized you could just lock on with a stinger and just destroy the dishes. And I was like, oh, that makes things so much easier. And so it was, but see, that I liked because the cutscenes were so cool because I love Liquid Snake. He was one of my favorite characters.
Yeah.
Now we're on to Final Fantasy X. Now, Final Fantasy X had a boss known as Penance, which actually, hold on, I'm sorry, I did it wrong. Number 4.
Number 4.
Dylan better be putting like transitions up for that. Otherwise, it's just number 4.
I mean, I think it's kind
pretty
of cool
cool too,
Actually,
yeah.
I kind of like it.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy X had a boss known as Penance, which had 12 million HP. Okay. The boss, it's an optional fight. So I, for one, didn't actually fight this boss. But I looked it up to see the length of the fight because I was like, okay, I didn't fight it, so I don't know how long this boss could actually take. It was just on a lot of lists for long boss fights. The shortest one that I found took about 30 minutes on YouTube.
Wow.
Right. I don't know if they sped it up or what they did, but it was about 30 minutes was the shortest videos. The
Or-
average video was an hour to an hour and a half.
Or they were just maxed out, level 99.
Yeah.
Either
Jesus,
way.
So-
an hour and a half to beat that guy.
Yes. And you gotta think this is a Final Fantasy fight. So it's just 3 dudes standing there. This is before they had running around. So you just 3 dudes standing there, pick your turn. They would have a turn. You go back and forth.
But no, I mean, I've been in like Destiny raids that take 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours to
Yeah, so you,
win.
yeah.
But those are whole raids.
That was a
Those
whole
are
raid.
like-
That
exactly.
was a
those are
single
like
boss fight, right?
boss
Yeah,
fights. Yeah.
Okay. Next up is another Final Fantasy. I told you we go back and forth, but I lied. So
number, yeah.
number 5. We're on 5, right? I didn't lose track
Yes.
again.
We're
I have a
on
tendency to
number
lose track.
5.
Yeah.
Okay, so in Final Fantasy 12, there's a boss called Yasmat. Yasmat has 50 million HP. Now, in the remake, this fight is quick because they removed the damage caps. But in the original game, you could not do more than 9,999 damage in a single swing.
Wow.
And you had to do 50 million HP damage.
That is crazy.
Jeez.
So records on
insane.
that one that I was looking at, were there anywhere between like an hour to 2 hours to 3 hours, depending on what you're doing, because he could also be cheap and hit you with instant death and petrification. Now, in the rules of Final Fantasy, if everyone's hit with instant death, the match is over. And if you're petrified, it's the equivalent of death. So
Wow.
Not really. If you manage to get someone on your team to throw you like an item to cure petrifaction, then you'd be able to keep going. But yeah, it's
but
very
that's
hard.
It, that's it. Like
yeah.
if someone got hit with instant death, someone got hit with petrification, and then someone else got hit with instant death, it's over.
Yeah.
So 50 million HP you're trying to take down at a tick of 9,999. Now in the new version of the game, they removed the caps and you can do as much damage as you can do.
Yeah.
So that must be a lot faster.
Yeah, probably.
heaven. 50 million damage with only a 10,000 damage cap.
Yep.
Jesus.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
Okay. So number 6.
Yes.
Back to Metal Gear. We're gonna double back over. In Metal Gear Solid 3, there's a boss known as the End.
Oh,
Oh, is that Metal Gear Solid, the one where you play, is that Snake Eater? Is that what that was?
Snake Eater.
that's
I
the
never-
one
I
we
never
played
played
on our
Snake Eater.
channel, so I know
Yes.
exactly what you're talking about.
That one was a lot of fun. I
Yeah.
enjoyed that one a lot.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
so this boss is a sniper. Now there's 2 ways you can cheat the system. One, you can shoot him before he even knows you're there. So early in the game, you see him in a wheelchair, you can take a pot shot and he's dead. And he won't show up later. And you can also
I think
go
he
into
did
the
that.
zone, turn off your game, set the PlayStation 2's clock ahead by a week, and then come back to the game and he's dead.
Really?
You told me
The
about that. yeah.
actual fight takes upwards from 30 minutes to 2 hours, depending on where he's positioned on the map. Now, he's a sniper, and you have to watch for where he is, and then you have to stealthily sneak up behind him to take him down without him seeing you. If he sees you, he will trank you, knocking you out, putting you into prison.
Wow.
So it's
Then
like,
you start the whole fight over. That's the actual fight. Now, I'm not going to lie. Every time that I did that fight, I just turned off the PlayStation 2 and rolled it ahead.
See, and I thought the whole battle with like Sniper Wolf and Metal Gear Solid 1 was hard. Like, oh yeah, man, I'm cheating the system. I'm using thermal goggles. Like,
You can use a lot of those tactics as well,
Yeah.
but in like Sniper Wolf was down a tunnel. Remember, she was kind of like a tunnel aim, and you just had to find her on the
Yeah.
other side of the map.
well, there was also the forest one, the second time you fight her.
Right. But this is a giant open forest. This isn't like
Yeah,
because
the
it's
middle of a
PlayStation
base.
2, so it had more
Yeah,
girth. I would.
had more you
Yeah.
could do with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
So they had a much larger sniper fight zone.
and it's
Okay.
like a really hard version of Quiet Fight then.
Yeah, it basically is. And
Yeah.
I always cheated the system. I
Yeah.
never did the legit fight.
So
For anybody who watches this, I'm a very impatient person when it
You
comes
are.
to shooters.
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I was
couldn't
going to
figure it
say. So
out.
like you're really impatient when it comes to shooters.
Oh yeah. Okay, we're gonna sniper fight. How do I cheat this?
Yeah, I'm the same way.
So there you go. What number are we on, Natalie?
7,
7.
I believe.
Number 7.
I thought we were on number 6.
Number 6.
Okay.
Number 7.
Yeah.
Number 8. Use one of those, Dylan, or just leave them all in and let people laugh at the fact that we
Yeah.
lost count midway through the video.
I'm pretty sure
Number
it was 7.
6
Pretty
or
sure it was
7. There we go.
All right, so EverQuest.
Yeah.
This fight, I could not find a record of how long it actually took. So in EverQuest, there was a dragon that was never intended to be beat.
Of course.
The dragon could one-shot everyone and was immune to magic. And in EverQuest, this is old school MMO
Yeah.
stuff.
This is crazy.
This boss fight, magic was like the way to do things. And he was immune to magic, and he would one-shot your melee.
Wow.
So it was a boss that was never intended to be beat. So the entire server came together, stripped all of their guys naked, gave them all a club, and one by one they would run in and club him,
Oh my
die,
God.
get rezzed, and run back in.
That's
Wow.
amazing. I wish. Is there like some kind of video about that on YouTube?
You can find records of it, but this is before even
man.
YouTube was
Yeah.
really a thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
EverQuest was what? 2001,
it's true.
2002,
Yeah.
So
Very
this
old.
fight,
2003.
I couldn't find any direct hour, but took hours to get to that point. They got the boss at 30%. The developers got irritated and despawned him.
Really? Wow.
They got rid of him.
oh man.
Everyone freaked out on the forums.
I'm
They
sure.
finally allowed them to respawn him, and then they brought him back, and they just let him defeat him.
Wow.
I have no word if there was drops or anything.
Probably not. It's just the satisfaction of having done the impossible.
Yeah,
you
man.
know.
Literally
Exactly
the
it.
impossible.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like forum posts from now until the end of time among whatever people are still playing EverQuest will hail the day that like this guy.
This unbeatable dragon was
unbeatable
defeated.
dragon.
Apparently
I
they
was
did
a
this a
part of
second
it.
time. I couldn't find very many records of it, but I remember reading it when I was like going back doing a lot of research on these things.
Yeah.
There was like the boss that basically ended EverQuest. They eventually did that as well. He was unbeatable, and they did a very similar system to defeat him.
Hmm.
And I guess they crashed the servers because he wasn't supposed to ever be dead.
Really?
Yeah, I can't find like the full story on that one, so I didn't want to put it on
That's
the list,
hilarious.
but I didn't want to make a mention of it.
That's
Does
amazing.
EverQuest even exist anymore?
Yeah, it's still gone.
It's still going?
Yeah.
Wow.
So okay, number whatever we're on.
7 or 8.
Seven or 8. Okay, so this is one I was going to let Natalie talk a little bit more about. Final Fantasy 11 has
was
our
our
number
lives.
7 or 8 and our 8 or 9.
Really?
Yes, there's 2 bosses in here, and if you want to
Okay.
explain how these work.
Tell me about Final Fantasy.
So the first one is Absolute Virtue, right?
Yes.
So Absolute Virtue, man. So of course it would take weeks or like days or weeks, right, for an actual party to farm the pop item in order to spawn
It was
the
almost
guy.
like a pyramid scheme.
Yes.
So you would start at the bottom tier, you fight like these 5 guys, and then
Yeah.
you would kill them, and they would let you spawn these 4 guys, and you kill them, and they let you spawn these
Yeah.
3 guys.
I mean, that's not really a pyramid scheme, but I understand.
Well,
what you're saying.
a pyramid
So
scheme
you
in
get-
reverse.
A pyramid
Yeah.
structure.
Yeah, structure.
A pyramid scheme is when you cheat people out of money.
Okay,
So-
well, this game probably did, but but yeah, that was pretty much a structure, and each one of the drops was not guaranteed.
yeah.
So
No,
it'd be
they
like-
were.
it was-
Like
it'd be
the,
like
the
a-
pop items were.
Not when you got near the top. It would be like a
No,
lower
the top.
percent.
Yeah, the top were. It was 100%.
Okay, well then, yeah. So but either way, you still had to farm up the first items,
And
kill
you
the
had- yeah.
bosses, farm up the next items. Each one of those fights probably took about 30 minutes to an hour each, and then you had to farm everything up. to
I
make
think
it
a
happen.
little bit
Good
more than
Lord.
that, but you had to gather at least 24 people, or more or less, depending on the boss.
Yeah.
And when you would defeat those guys, you would get the pop items required to pop a monster that was called Jailer of Love, right? And that Jailer of Love fight would require at least 2 to 3 hours.
Jailer of Love.
Yes.
Jailer. It was just a big UFO, like just.
It was a
picture-
jellyfish.
Yeah, it was a
Floating jellyfish in the sky.
like a big UFO. And
So let me see if I understand this. they had a boss named Jailer of Love.
Yes. Well, listen,
was a
there was like
floating
there was a
jellyfish
theme
in the
around
sky.
it. There was a theme around it. Every because we were in a sea region, so there was nothing but sharks, jellyfish, and just all these sea monsters, right?
And they'd be like the jailer of love, the jailer of virtue,
Yes.
the jailer of justice. Yeah.
and all that. Yeah, jailer of temperance and all that. All right, Rob.
And
all
the
right.
jailers' pop items would eventually get to this monster.
Yes,
absolute
jailer-
virtue at the top. They were the jailers for absolute virtue,
Yeah.
which you would then
So
spawn.
when you would kill Jailer of Love after 2 hours to 3 hours with your alliance of 24 people, those people would be like out of MPs and they would be just tired and wanting to take a break, right? Well, as soon as you defeat Jailer of Love, absolute virtue pops up. And so if you're not ready for it, they will just wipe the entire party. But if you do want to take on absolute virtue, it's 3 hours on top of an 18-hour fight. 18-hour
So
fight. for
absolute virtue would take you 18 hours to defeat.
Yes.
But it gets even worse. So you do the 2 to 3 hour fight. One, if you're really good,
Yes.
but at least an hour fight, right?
Yeah. Mm.
You would then only have 5 minutes to move to the next one, or he despawns, you lose him.
Yes.
I
And
was,
then
I
you
was,
have
I
to
was like, why
redo-
don't people just be like, okay, we're going to meet back up in like 2 hours?
No,
You can't.
have
You can't.
5 minutes.
And then
Wow.
If you
if
don't
you
claim
lose
him, he's
it,
gone.
yeah, and if you lose it, you have to redo the whole farming of everything up
Yes.
to that point.
You don't
So
get your
it would
items
take
back.
weeks.
You start at
yes,
the bottom.
it would take weeks in order to achieve that again.
Wow.
So you'd have to be ready to take him on.
So I imagine those are the gamers that like you hear like when people are just like funny gaming moments and like you see them just like raging at their computers.
It was us. It was us, though. I
Yeah,
mean, we
that
were
was
in
us.
charge.
That's why she knows it so well.
Wow.
We had to lead those 24 people.
No, because I remember seeing, and they were hysterical. Like some guy's girlfriend would change the password to like his World of Warcraft account, and he would just lose all.
Yeah, it's those kind of-
self-control.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it's what it sounds
Because
like.
you
People
put
just
so much
just
time
lose.
into it, so many years and so many hours of hard work with your friends, and if you just lose all your items, there's no way of getting it back. So you
See,
just,
I'd be the guy who would screw it up. I'd be like, all right, guys, I'm gonna go to lunch real quick. It's like, no, Rob, you can't leave. It's like, "Oh, I'll be
Exactly.
You'd
back."
be gone. Yeah.
Exactly.
So the fight would pop. You'd get 18 hours. It took about 18 hours to defeat him. Okay. And it was basically undefeated for the longest time. The group
Yeah.
that finally did it, they were documented in the online newspapers and stuff doing it.
Yeah.
Finally having defeated this insane boss.
Yeah.
And they were vomiting, passing out. They were having like heart palpitations. Like there was like
you had
physical
to. I mean,
issues.
you
with
had
them.
to, because with this game, it was so the pacing was very slow, and you had to just be staring at the monster's moves because it
had
could
to
come at
time
any
everything.
moment. And so you had to be ready
With
to
no
do
breather.
whatever. Yeah, to like heal or to like, get like, I don't know, like just have like a tank go in and just like swap tanks like as soon as something would happen.
Didn't
So
South
18
Park-
hours.
Yes,
Imagine your
18
Destiny raid
hours.
and you got to
Yes.
the last boss.
Yeah.
But then you had to go for 18 hours.
Yeah.
Didn't South Park do a thing like that where like they
It
were
was
fighting
World of
some boss?
Warcraft.
Yeah, and they had like this whole like automated food system and
Yeah.
like water system hooked up and
Yeah.
everything. Yeah, see that's what that
Oh.
sounds. I don't understand why you'd want to fight a boss for 18 hours.
Well, the other one is even worse. The Pandemonium
no,
Warden.
the kicker is you only get 5 drops.
Yes.
That's 5 now.
Five, yes.
5 drops.
you get 4
And
drops.
You
you're
get
not-
4 to
you're-
5
yeah.
drops, and you had 24 people to sort it out with.
And you're not guaranteed. And of course, like, it would be like per attendance. So if someone was showing up to every single event, they would get points, right? So they would spend their points. The one that had the most points and that wanted the item would spend those points in order to get the item.
So here's a question: was it like Borderlands where like the loot would drop and you would just run up and grab it?
No.
Oh,
So it would go into a pool.
A pool, yeah.
And then you'd have to have everyone on the honor system
And of
be like, okay,
course-
only Rob, only you're going to roll in this item.
And of course, you'd
dude,
have
I'd
to
roll
try.
along.
Yeah, exactly. You'd have those people that, like, of course, at that point, you'd think that you could trust the people you're working with. It's been months, but there would be those people that that were sticking around just for that one item that would drop. So you could never know if someone was going to pull some like backdoor stuff
But
and
see-
just like lot on it and just bail and never
we gotta
see
keep
them
moving
again.
because we're definitely
Yeah.
way over our time.
Okay,
limit.
okay.
Sorry.
But so the next one,
Pandemonium Warden.
Yeah.
So
They
that
basically-
that one is even worse because just like picture all these dragons like Chimera, Hydra with like the 3 heads and stuff. You had to kill all of these guys that were on like a very strict timer, like 72 hours to like maybe, what is it, like 80 something hours.
No,
you
no.
had to kill
Pandemonium
them.
Warden was a bit-
No, I know, but you had to kill those, get the pop item in order, like round them up.
you just popped them. So basically didn't learn and they did it a second time. So after they made headlines, they liked having the headlines.
Yes.
They made a second reverse pyramid tier.
But
And they did it again.
But the guy,
Wow.
but the guy that spawned, he was like a guy in a chair, and every like hour or two, he would just spawn into he would just transform himself into all of the dragons that you fought to spawn him. So it would be like a 48-hour fight. Like, what is it?
So basically what ended up happening
crazy.
was they would get to the top, and Square Enix at the time had a plan where you could beat him in 2 hours. But the beauty of Final Fantasy 11 is they would never tell anybody.
Yeah,
these
we would.
plans.
Yeah, they
So you
had
to
no
figure them all
idea.
out.
Of course.
Yeah.
Every 2 hours, the boss would rotate and reset.
Yes.
So he would turn into another boss.
Yes.
So the first group that fought him went another 18 to 20 hours, not
Yeah.
realizing that there was a specific way to beat him,
Yeah.
just allowing him to change every 2 hours, going, oh, there's another form, there's another form, there's another form.
Which is pretty awesome, because when our server that we were on, it was the very first, it was the link shell called Apathy, I think.
Yeah.
It was the very world first link shell that actually attempted to kill him. So they were just trying to figure. It was just funny because we were all standing away from the fight, but just watching them trying to figure out how to defeat him.
But
So
they
it
didn't
would
know that
just-
there was a way to defeat him.
Yeah.
They just thought you kept killing
So
each
we just
form,
so we
and it
just
would rotate
watched
to the
them
next
wipe
form.
over and over.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
it
So they were
was-
waiting
yeah.
for the end form to happen,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it would never happen
never
because
happen.
you were
Exactly.
supposed to do something to finish
Exactly.
it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was honestly, it's just fun to be there as someone attempts the world first, just to see how they do it and their thought process.
But I
about
did
the
not stay
whole
there
thing.
for 18 hours.
I did.
Those
I
things
stayed
are
for like
funny
an
to
hour.
me. Those things are hilarious to me. Like what was it? There was some World of Warcraft player that died, and they hosted like a funeral procession.
Yes.
And then people
and then
rated
someone
it?
crashed it. I know.
Yeah, okay. The
I
funeral
know,
procession I
yes,
at least
that's
admire because,
awful.
hey,
Yes,
we're
it
all
was
friends on
thoughtful.
online games.
That was
Absolutely.
hilarious.
Yeah.
But then the assholes rated it.
It was so funny.
And in response to the people who are like, well, that was a really dickheadish move to pull off, and maybe we'll do the ultimate troll moments in gaming. That'll be our next list.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
But why would you do it in a zone where people can rate it?
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
countless zones you could have
it
done
was
it, but that
a
wouldn't have been a
PvP
problem.
area. That's what it was. There was PvE
let's-
area and PvP area.
Let's go ahead and bring this one to a close.
Yeah,
We can discuss
sorry.
that on another day,
Yes.
okay?
God, that was so
we've
funny.
already dragged it out. So the longest fights in history that we have got recorded here are unrecorded time-wise, but
Yeah.
the ones that are recorded and made headlines, 18 hours.
Wow.
Could you imagine being in your Destiny raid for about 18 hours, Rob?
No, I would just quit. I'd be like, you know what? I just have like a life to go live, so I'm gonna go do that.
Bye,
thing.
everyone.
Bye, everyone.
All right, so on that note, we are going to bring this episode of the Listcussion to a close.
To a close.
To a close.
A beat. That's all, folks.
Wow.
I'm Benny, the comic historian. That is Rob, Comics Explained. That is Natalie at Zodical Candy, and we are Eligible Monster. Don't forget to subscribe if you enjoy these kind of things, and give us some topics you want to see us discuss down below. Since we're discussing lists, we can pretty much talk about anything.
Yeah. That's fun.
Basically.